Write down
I
your
did, I
phone.
called you.
I know, and I saved it in my phone.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And thank you. So, good evening, and welcome to the Chaska Human Rights Commission meeting of, today is August 24th, 2023. And so, gosh, welcome, everyone. Good to see us all. How about roll call to begin with?
Commissioner Aludar. Here. Commissioner Waller.
Here.
Commissioner Albert.
Here.
Commissioner Hager. Here. Commissioner Sanderson. Here. Commissioner Dye. Commissioner LeSueur. Here. Chair Carlson.
Here. Great. Thank you, Elise. So we have an agenda. Are there any additions, deletions that need to be made to the agenda? If not, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Motion made by Kaylee and seconded by Ren. If there's no further questions, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Excellent. We don't happen to have a guest presentation tonight, so we'll just go straight to the body of our minutes from July 27th, 2023. As you read through them, were there any changes, corrections, deletions, additions that needed to be made? May I have a motion to approve the minutes of July 27th, 2023?
So moved.
Motion made by Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Martin. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of approving the minutes for July 27th, 2023, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carried. Oh, the ever important treasurer's report. Elise, can you fill us in on our state of affairs?
Certainly, Chair and Commissioners, I think we covered July last time. There was nothing additional in July. We did finalize the River City Days budget, so there was a budget of $500. A total of $233.03 was used. So the remaining $266.97 was returned as reflected in the balance of the budget there. So far in August, we've committed funds for a couple of our September events. You'll see for the different dance performers. And then also in July, you did approve $450 in your budget for books for the MLK Day event. They've not been purchased. I put them in here to note, however, that you have budgeted for them, whether it happens this year or early next year. Just want to reflect that.
Great. Are there any questions regarding the budget? If not, may I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report for August? Thank you, Miriam. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ren. So motion made by Miriam, seconded by Ren to approve the treasurer's report. If there are no questions or discussion, all in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes carried. Okay, so our business. Jen, is anything to report on the Dr. King celebration?
We have not met in the last month. Hopefully that will be coming in September very soon. And we can discuss the books and when they're going to be ordered. That's it.
Okay, great. Appreciation months. We had our women's event. We've talked a little bit about a veterans event. I think we're going to talk about, or would you like to say something now, Kaylee, about the Indigenous Peoples Day event, whether that's October cultural heritage it is.
It doesn't matter, we can talk about it whenever.
Martin, you had some ideas about a veterans event. Any further thoughts on that?
No.
Okay.
But for those who weren't here last time, my suggestion was to, much like we did with Women's History Month, go out through the community and ask for different bios from different veterans and then post it on our Facebook page this year. So it should be easily done. Yes, ma'am.
The other piece of that is in Chaska Middle School West and East have longstanding traditions of doing veterans events. And last year, the East 7th grade students partner with Carver County Veteran Services to do a trading card project around veterans. The kids got together and interviewed veterans and created a project around them. And so might be an opportunity for ready-made content that we could refeature that's already been made into a slideshow and things like that. So we could certainly get that to Kevin. And those are all local.
That's a great idea.
I love the idea of getting people to nominate their favorite veteran to celebrate as well, using that same kind of model. But knowing that it takes a little while to gather steam for some of these things, that might be a good additional piece of information. And I'm sure I would love to have an extended reach for that project. It was so cool to get to see. The kids were so excited. They would sit down and talk with veterans, and you could hear a pin drop. And when you have 100 7th graders in a relatively small space, that's very unusual. So I would be happy to connect with Kevin and the teachers at East to see if we can get some of that information back over to Kevin.
And certainly our participation in supporting that event, however we could do that, sounds like a great relationship there.
And I do think I don't think we have, I think we sunsetted it was a particular type of communications. I can't remember what we called that empathetic
Response.
Yes. So I do think as we move into a calendar year where there are more of these events, it's an opportunity for us to proactively think about, do we want to submit something to the Herald and or push out a social media statement from this group recognizing the unique contributions of these particular individuals to our cities.
Great idea.
We'll write it
I don't know
down.
what everyone else thinks, but that's great.
I like it.
Veterans Day is November 8th.
That is correct. I believe it's November 11th.
Everything is, yes, remember, yeah. Okay. Thanks, Sarah.
Pride celebration. I continue to still hear good things, good responses. Gosh, I saw you out at the Pride picnic. Yeah, that was great. So still good feedback on that. Anything else?
I have had, I think, we'll want to convene that group. And I don't know if I will still be on the commission next year. We'll love to continue to be engaged with it. I think we'll want to start earlier in the planning. There have been a lot of, when I was at River City Days, there was a vendor there who does 3D printing. I don't know if you hit the dragons and the turtles, I don't know if you saw them, but he asked about exhibiting at Pride. And so I think there is, I think we're kind of at the point where we need to have some conversations as a commission about, do we want to get bigger? And if so, how do we want to support? I mean, I don't envision us ever being a huge event, but do we have had a very kind of loose, if people want to come and provide services or advertise, we just kind of let them. We haven't had any fees associated with that. Because it's not really meant to be a revenue generator for us, but something to think about. I think I was telling Elise that those shirts, they sold out of the shirts and people still want them. So I think there's some conversation with the Chaska GSA about maybe having a special run where people could pre-order. And but the Chaska Pride really resonated with a lot of folks. So I'm continuing to be really grateful for all the hard work people put in to make that happen. So.
I was on a list to get a shirt.
Oh, well, we'll have to follow up on that one. If anybody needs to get a shirt, it's Madam Chair.
Any initial thoughts to Kaylee's remarks?
I think that that would be great to have other, whenever you have other people interested and other organizations interested in supporting it, that'd be great. I think the bigger it gets, the more sense it makes to, just do a nominal fee for booth rental so we can kind of manage it a little bit. I don't think it should be a fundraiser for us or anything. We have a budget for it, but I think, just having different organizations put their money into it to show their support that way can help us keep it growing and keep it well going.
I also think the benefit to planning early is, we talked about location. It sounds like maybe City Square Park is not a foregone conclusion that's accessible next June. But I think, I liked the feedback about having the sort of the playgrounds right there. And I think Fireman's Park might be a really great option. But I think we'd have to get on the ball with that pretty quickly to get a hold on that, to hopefully hold a date that might work. So.
Well, McKnight had lots of great features. I mean, there was space for food trucks. There was space for the activity truck from Parks and Recreation. Plenty of parking for folks that were coming in. So I think, yep. Yes.
Maybe needed a little bit bigger freezer than what we were looking for, but
hey, at least it had a freezer. At least it had a freezer. So we'll see. Great. All right. River City Days. Well, kind of a wrap up on River City Days. We met last time just a day before River City Days. Martin, I think the Jeopardy games were very successful.
It was a test, so it'd be good to develop it more for next year.
Yeah.
And kind of get more involvement with the community. I mean, I think it was great. I think we went through it, but have a little more space. I think we were kind of crowded a little bit, but it was good. It was good.
Shout out to Sienna if she's watching tonight.
I'm sure.
I'm sure she is. But Sienna and Juhi, all of us that were there just did a great job. Thank you so much for being there. Like I said, good feedback. I don't know if any of you came down on Sunday for the heritage event, cultural heritage event, that was sponsored by Latina Voices. They had traditional dancing. It was very well received. So that was just a great all-around event. Any feedback about River City Days?
I think probably part of the reason that we came in under budget was because somebody had some generous in-kind contributions. So thank you, Martin.
As always.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, you were the candy?
Oh, that was, yeah, sure.
Okay, we're gonna thank you for that. That was very
That
popular.
was a huge.
It was very popular.
We got lots of repeat customers again.
Yes. And lots of surprise people when we gave them the candy, they'd say, the whole thing?
Oh.
They were bigger size than our little sample.
King size, eh? Yeah.
Well, whatever size they were, people were most appreciative of that nice size bag. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. And we'll see if we can get, what's the word I'm looking for? Donors for next year. What's the word I'm looking for?
Supporters,
Supporters,
donors.
yes, yep. So whoever's on that community, committee next year. Got to do better than what we did this year. Not to say that what we did was not good. It was great, but you have to improve. Yes, we're going to take a step forward next year.
And imitation being the most sincere form of flattery, I did notice there were other fans like ours.
Oh, yes.
This year, so.
Yes, but I was at an event yesterday that I recognized the person, she recognized me, and she whipped out of her purse a human rights fan. And she said, "Look what I have." And I thought, okay, now I know where I met you. And she used the fan last night because it was an outdoor event. So I was impressed. Yes, the public health department copied our idea. But that's okay.
It is.
So, big activities going on in the month of September. The Cultural Heritage Month. So we have September activities, we've got an October pending or / November activity that we want to talk about this evening. And so Ren and Miriam, I'm going to turn over the African celebration to the two of you to kind of give a report on. I have brought the samples of items that you asked me to bring tonight. So when you get ready to talk about that, let me know and I'll pass these out.
Yeah, I kind of gave an update last time, but it's going to be on September 8th from 6 to 9 p.m. At this point, we're just looking more so for marketing as well as fashion show participants. We have the Somali Museum of Minnesota coming, as well as the Wantiange USA Organico Kenyan dance group coming to perform. And then in the middle, we're going to be having the fashion show. So right now I'm still trying to find like more participants. Right now we have the Somali Student Association and a few community members from the Ghanaian community in Chaska participating, but trying to reach out and find more community members since a lot of people were on vacation recently. So yeah, and also marketing. Kevin put out a Facebook event out. So, and I've been sharing the flyer with some people, but Somalis tend to be more so like an oral community. So trying to do like phone calls specifically to them. I've also been working with a few intercultural specialists at Eastern Carver County Schools so that they could connect with more African families to promote the event. So yeah, it's kind of where we're at. And I know Ren has made like he's put together like pieces of information to put at each of the tables. He can go more into depth about that, but he put together a lot of amazing information for that.
Oh, and it's Sarah as well. Like where it's every country has flag, where they're located, the number of languages, the number of different cultures, and it's remarkable. That's one of the things we were talking about this week. It's remarkable. There's some countries where there's 250 languages spoken in one country, and some that have 50 to 60 different cultural groups that are represented. And so I think hopefully that will come across as people participate. Miriam also has done a great job. There will be food there as well. And there'll be some other groups to share their culture. And we've got a couple more spaces that we're trying to nail down, a couple more spots from different countries. But Miriam has really been driving and done a fantastic job. So.
Yeah, regarding to food, we finalized catering as well. So we finalized with creative catering, and I think that's $1,000. And it's going to kind of be like samples of different foods. We ended up deciding not to do a food truck because Kevin advised like if there is going to be a food truck, they would most likely want there to be like a larger turnout, and we're not expecting there to be like 500 plus people. So we ended up just going with creative catering, and we're going to be having kofta kebab samples, rice samples, galoob jamun sample, and what was the other one? Sambusa, if you guys are familiar with that. So yeah.
I mean, it's sambusas.
No.
Miriam, have you reached out? And in the summer it's hard to get in touch, but like Sora did at Chaska High School, and you didn't graduate last year, did you?
I graduated in 2020.
Okay. They did a really awesome cultural night, and they had a lot of students from the African diaspora that were presenting. So I don't know if who the ICSs are you're working with, but
I did reach out to Adamize, but I'm still waiting to hear back from her. Okay. So yeah, kind of just waiting to hear back from people.
Yabi, I think is, I probably will see her this week, so I'll bug her.
Okay, yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Juhi has offered to be our henna specialist for the evening.
Yes, and about that, so I didn't get the chance to email you back, but I have 2 people who can for sure do it with me. And then I'm still gonna ask once I go back to school to see more people and see just, knowledge from it, and it's also a great experience, so I should be able to get maybe another 2 people, but as of right now, 3, including myself, so then I'll be
Okay,
able to
that'd be
update you on that.
Yeah, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
of
that.
course.
And we will also have water-based temporary tattoos for those who might have sensitive skin.
I'm looking at you funny. I don't do water-based tattoos.
I know
Wow, I got her.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Just in case somebody has sensitive skin and whatever.
And with the information that Ren and Sarah put together, we also were planning to put together like a scavenger hunt with just a few questions and then giving out like small pieces of candy. We were considering like African candy, but I'm not sure if we could get our hands on that. Still have to explore like different African markets near the area. But other than that, just giving out like small pieces of candy out.
And then I guess it's time for show and tell. So I had a friend, these are small little notebooks that you're welcome to pass them down. That could be just given out, just something. I thought if we had little cards of the Chaska Human Rights Commission, we could just slip the card in there so that people would remember that they got that from the Chaska Human Rights Commission. So I'll get with Elise and Kevin and see if we can't get something, if that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will unfortunately be in Milwaukee.
Oh, come on.
Taking care of my mom.
There you go. It's okay.
But are there things that we can do to help you beyond just kind of spreading the word? Or are there things the night of that you're gonna need us other than being in attendance?
Maybe like a few volunteers like at a few of the stations that we have set up. I can send out an email with more specific details about that though. But other than marketing and spreading out the word, I really appreciate that.
If anyone is available Friday, September 8th at 1 o'clock to come over and help me set up the tables, that would be terrific. I've got a variety of table decorations. And we also have a dress from Sudan that one person could wear if they were so inclined.
Yeah, we were looking for someone to participate in the fashion show, and she mentioned at the previous meeting, like if someone could wear one of the dressing, so we thought maybe we'd ask the commissioners.
I see all the volunteers just jumping forward. Well, after the meeting, you're welcome to take a look at it and see if it's a possibility for you.
In the spirit of, educating as we do, maybe we've already done this, but I think it'd be cool to like make sure we're cross marketing and making sure the organizers of the Latin American Food and Heritage Festival are like specifically invited to this event and vice versa.
They are.
Okay, cool.
Because next on the discussion is the Latin Music and Food Festival on September 22nd. We will have a booth that is the Human Rights Commission. I have a map. So I have to admit, I've been working a little bit on Africa, or more so than Africa than Latin America, but I'm ready to jump in on that. So if you have any ideas about what it is that we could provide in terms of education for our community that complements the music and the food that will be at Fireman's Park on the 22nd, please let us know. Then along comes October/November. And that is the Indigenous Peoples' Day, where America's first inhabitants are honored, along with the tribal nations that thrive today. So Kaylee has offered to kind of get that ball rolling. However, she needs help in doing so.
Yeah, part of the reason was I was trying to wait till folks came back to connect with our APAC group and our ICS who works with our Indigenous families. But I think at a minimum would like to have something ready for September in terms of some sort of statement recognizing Indigenous Persons Month for this year. And then I still am holding out hope that by October 11th of 2024, we might be able to do something around burial. And not gonna look at this because she's not in any position to promise it. But I want to bring a group together. So I don't know if we formally brought a group together to work on this, but if there are a couple of folks that would be willing to help out, that would be great.
Thank you, Ren.
And two of us can do it too. We don't need to,
Great.
because I'm going to bring in a couple of other folks too as well, hopefully including your friend John.
Okay, great, wonderful.
I'll do Adjourn. Thanks.
Great.
What was the date again for that?
Well, October 11th is Indigenous Persons Day. That is, that came, I think, just went into effect July 1. That just passed the last session that we traditionally Columbus Day. Now in the state of Minnesota is recognized as Indigenous Persons Day, and I believe is a state holiday.
Yeah, I believe it's a state and federal. No, must not be a
federal.
state. Must not be a state because otherwise that would trickle down to us
Okay.
as well. So it's just federal.
I think there's some weird, because some schools have off and some don't, and so we are in session. But at any rate, we'll see what we can pull together in a relatively short amount of time. But I don't expect anything quite as impressive as our African Heritage Month or other things. So.
I would be willing to help. I just have to check if I have anything going on that day, but.
Well, and again, I don't think specifically we're planning anything for that date specifically. I think it's just understanding that in October 11th is the day specifically we've designated as Indigenous Persons Day. So.
I would be very happy to help.
All right.
Though.
Okay.
Perfect. Excellent. Community partnerships. Well, under communities of belonging, I participated along with Miriam at the latest training provided by the YMCA of the North, sponsored by our public health department, Pat Steig. There's another meeting scheduled for, is it next week, the 29th? Or is it? Do you have it, Elise?
Yes. The 29th is virtual at 6 o'clock.
Right. So if any of you are interested in joining that process, I think last month or this month when we participated, I found it very helpful. We were tasked with identifying people who have not come to the table to talk about communities of belonging, or whether they were businesses or groups of people that collectively, the participants that evening felt should be at the table to talk about it. And it was amazing, the lists that we came up with. I was really surprised. And you think that all of us want to have a community where we all feel like we are members and we're all welcomed. So I think we'll try to work on developing that list into actual participants. So, Miriam, your thoughts?
I think you encompassed it pretty well. It was like an equity workshop. They gave a slight presentation, but they also made it pretty interactive where you put together different lists on what you would like to see the community come into. And I think we put together a pretty good list. So.
One of the thoughts that our former mayor, Bob Ripke, and I talked about at that session was several years ago, and this is probably more than several years ago, so maybe 15 years ago, the local Chamber of Commerce put together a leadership training program. And it was maybe a year long, although it probably broke out to maybe just 8 separate monthly sessions. And at each of those sessions, community leaders, business leaders, the hospital administrator, the school district chairperson, or perhaps it was actually probably the chair, maybe the superintendent, came and gave kind of an overview. This is what we do in our community, and kind of help provide a format where information was given, how to encourage participation. And Bob and I were talking about how that's a possibility for the Human Rights Commission to play a more active role in educating young leaders, new folks like some of you to our community. And so I asked Bob to kind of bring that to the attention of communities of belonging, but did want to bounce that off of our commission as a possibility for us to think about. Next month or in October, we start thinking about the 2024 year and the kinds of programming and seminars or educational opportunities we want to be able to give to our community. So that might be something that we consider. Just a thought.
Yeah, I also really liked how they emphasize like not just inclusivity, but also like the sense of belonging, because you can have an environment that's inclusive, but not everybody feels like they belong. So keeping that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, communications. 3 things. On August 12th, I believe it was, I gave a presentation to the Beyond New Beginnings Board of Directors about the work that the Human Rights Commission does and wants to continue to provide in our community. It was very well received. All of us, what they want to be to acknowledge all of you in working so hard these past year to reach out into our community and work to make Chaska a welcoming place and a supportive community. Back in, if you can believe this, July 25th, 2019, the Active Transportation Advisory Committee was established. And at that time, I think I raised my hand to be a member of that committee representing the Human Rights Commission regarding the pedestrian bike master plan. And so it's been since 2019, July 2019. The final draft has come out of the master pedestrian and bike plan for the city of Chaska. 132 pages. I read it this morning. It's very in-depth. It's available on the Parks and Recreation site if you're at all interested. And if you are, then I would key into the page where I feel that our commission gave the most insight, and that was making our pedestrian and our bike paths accessible, and including and being more inclusive to communities in Chaska that don't have good transportation. So very glad to finally see that report. And then Martin. Martin was our volunteer for the master plan for the community center. And that draft has just come out. Do you have any thoughts that you want to share? Martin was our representative from the Human Rights Commission.
It was a long process. It's still in process. I would encourage everyone to go to the community center's website and kind of look at the plan and hop on Facebook, look at the plan. We're still trying to figure out financing and how it's going to get paid for. But I think if you look at the plan, put in your input to the Park and Recs Department. And, it's a good plan. It's inclusive. It's I don't know how to put it. It just look at the plan. I can't describe it because there've been a lot of changes over the last couple of months, but it will benefit all in Chaska if the community center is remodeled, and it could benefit us depending upon how we finance it. So, but I encourage everyone to hop online and check it out if you have not. At least if you throw anything in there, you can. But
Yeah, there's also a survey available to provide your feedback. So I'd encourage you as you're looking at it to provide that feedback.
So thank you, Martin, for your willingness to serve on that committee, that advisory committee. I'm always impressed when I participated in the pedestrian and bike path group that we were included, and that our vote or our voices regarding accessibility were heard loud and clear and acknowledged in the report. So, and I'm sure you probably felt that too with the community center improvements. So certainly more to come. Nothing is given there. I don't think there's any funding mechanisms in place to do the kinds of things that these two plans are suggesting, but we'll see. I also put by your chairs a message from the Department of Human Rights. The Director of Community Engagement, if you are not receiving information and you're interested in seeing what the state is doing at the human rights level, you can certainly reach out directly. We, as a rule, did not share your personal emails. So this is just an opportunity. If you want to reach out directly, that's great. If we do get mail from them through the HRC website or through our HRC site, Elise will get that to us. But if you have any interest or you're interested in exploring that more, this Saturday, August 26th, is one of the last. We have 3 more sessions of the driver's license for all classes at the Chaska Moravian Church. Begins at 10 o'clock, goes to 12 o'clock. We're pretty prompt. We're prompt by exiting the building by 12:15. So don't think you have to spend the entire day. In September, I would like to coordinate if there can be persons from the city of Chaska who are notaries on one of the 2 September dates. If you can just, and I can send you an email regarding that. Like I said, continue positive participation and good feedback that this was a program that was needed. They'd like it to even continue into October and November, but our effort and our partnership ends after the September meeting. Okay.
What were the other meetings? I'm sorry, the 26th. Do you know the September meeting?
When is the next one?
Or when are the September ones? Okay, I can email you.
Yes. I should have it, but I didn't. Next meeting date. Oh, are there any other communications? Oh. For those of us who are thinking 2024 activities, the art gallery exhibit area in the Chaska Community Center. We did our Green Card Voices exhibits there. I don't know if we are thinking about doing anything during the 2024 in that area, but if so, we would probably need to set up a month or a schedule with the recreation program manager so that we can reserve that space. So put your thinking caps on.
I'm curious, things like in June when they did the Pride exhibit, was that, I don't think we asked for that. That was their initiative and we helped support. Do they have kind of an idea at this point of sort of what their calendar is? Okay. Okay.
And they wanted to involve the Human Rights Commission.
Okay.
So if you wanted to do a specific exhibit 1 month. They wanted to make that available.
Okay.
I had thought that perhaps some of the exhibit items that would be present at the celebration in September could be in that area, but there is a concern about the safety of those items. So although I don't think that would be an issue, I just, we'll have to see. But I'm sure that there'll be other activities in 2024 that could use that space to promote the Human Rights Commission.
As you mentioned, the community center, it made me think of, have you heard anything about an Ofrenda again in October?
I have not.
I haven't either, so I'm wondering if that's going to happen again or.
I have not heard that.
I can reach out to Mary and, because I think Latino Voices kind of headed that up and we just partnered with them.
That is,
So I can contact Mary and see if there's anything we can help out with.
That was Latino Voices, Mary Fuentes.
Oh.
Yeah, she's now their executive director. So, yeah. Okay, anything else? Any general announcements? Do you know we're all here tonight? Thank you for being here. If not, then our next meeting is September 28th, but in the meantime, we're going to see some, if not all of you, on September 8th at the Chaska Event Center or September 22nd at Fireman's Park. And let's keep up the good work. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, Ren has made a motion. Anybody want to second it?
Second.
Hannah, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The meeting is officially over.